So, I've been feeling quite flat recently, quite down, and having quite sort of long periods in days where I just feel like there's just absolutely no point to anything. So, yesterday I decided I'm going to go out on a walk. Usually, I like to get out in nature because it seems to like take the weight off, especially quiet places like this. This place right here is like one of my favorites. It's like an anchor sort of spot for me. And I was walking and I was feeling things sort of like the weight lifting off me. And what I've not done in a while is listen to Alan Watts. If you don't know who Alan Watts is, he's dead now, but he was like a spiritualist and very much into like Zen Buddhist sort of philosophies, um, Taoism as well. Really, really amazing. Such a beautiful sort of personality, a bubbly sort of way where he talks about life and philosophy and stuff like that. And there's been so many times where I've put my earphones in and listened to Alan Watts and I felt so crap. And then within like half an hour, I'm like stood in a forest somewhere just laughing out loud. And I feel the absolute absurdity of how I was thinking before. He just completely changes my perspective. So I thought I would come here, sit down, get my phone out, my microphone out, and just go over some of the philosophies that help me um, sort of detach from the sort of psychosis that we get into when we're just living normal lives and we're part of a society. Um, and just sort of getting out of my head and realizing that this is all completely absurd and that we should accept the thusness of the universe instead of being so attached to outcomes because it all just comes down to the ego, really. So one of the things that was like a profound epiphany for me personally with Alan Watts, I've got a notebook here just to keep me on track with some of my personal thoughts um, that come to me when I'm on these long sort of walks. Um, and Alan Watts spoke about the sort of Buddhist concept of lila, which is like basically describing reality as more like a divine dance or a divine play. And I think we all forget this massively, that this really is like I said, absolutely absurd and crazy. We're all existing within these rules that really are just completely made up rules, self-imposed a lot of the time. Uh, and one of the sort of analogies that he uses that I think's incredible is he talks about sort of um, music. Life is like music. It's like a dance. It's like a play. And the reason that you listen to music is not to get to the end of the song. It's to, experience the actual music in itself. And life is the same. Life can be like that for us if we just learn to let go and let it flow instead of thinking about money and status and having the right partner and having all these material items and just adding all this unnecessary sort of sludge and stress. And I do this myself as well. You don't have to do that. You don't have to live that way if you don't want to. If you detach from that, and so one thing that I do, for example, is when I'm on these walks and I'm thinking and my mind is like thinking about everything I've got to do, what I want to achieve, blah 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 blah, things that we all think about. And then I'll just stop and just look at like a tree or a grass or you know, insects or a squirrel or whatever it might be. And I'll just become curious about it. So, like, how strange this all is, and we just accept it as a matter of fact. How strange grass is. Why does it grow? How does it grow? What is soil? You look into the grass, and there's like insects everywhere. There's birds in the trees. What are the birds doing? Nature, reality, the universe, and even clouds in the sky. And it sort of detaches you from this psychosis. For me, anyway, it detaches me from the psychosis of like normal life and society, and just makes me realize that this is really is just a cosmic wonder that we're living in. It is a dance. And I completely get what he's saying when he says it's like a cosmic dance when you're listening to the birds. I mean, just hear the birds right now, and you're watching all the animals do their thing, and trees and nature just not strive. It doesn't strive for anything. It just comes to its result naturally. It's not trying to do anything. It's thus. And I think as human beings, we've left that behind. As higher thinking sort of beings, we've almost like dropped to a lower frequency where we don't sort of like just exist. Now, I'm not saying you should, quit your job or, you know, get rid of your relationship, stop looking after your family or whatever like that. But I'm just saying, like, just detach from the rules and the society a little bit and just think about just how mad this all really is, and then you'll sort of like get a child's curiosity about life and cosmos again and the universe, and it makes you realize that all of your problems and all the things you worry about really aren't that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. You're a part of everything. Everything is a part of you. And I think you should just try and detach from the results, detach from the outcomes, and just enjoy the process. Just be part of it all, because you are part of it all, like I said. Now, talking from a different philosophical perspective, because I like to delve in different philosophies, it sort of gives me sort of a good sort of mix of yin and yang. It keeps me in sort of an equilibrium going between the Western philosophies and the Eastern philosophies. And Stoicism is probably one of my favorite Western philosophies. Um, and the Stoics were very Zen in their own way. They had sort of Zen concepts sort of intertwined within their philosophies, probably without even realizing it. One of my favorites, Epictetus, who was a Stoic philosopher, said, "Remember that you are an actor in a play." And I've just wrote here, "You do not control the roles for the most part. Suffering comes from demanding a different script." I mean, it speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? We all are performing these roles as men, women, fathers, mothers, workers, jobs, humans, whatever it might be. We're all performing these roles. And I think a lot of our suffering comes from either not accepting the script that we've got, not accepting the role that we're playing, or feeling like we should be playing a different role. Now, there's a couple of things you can do, obviously. You can change the role that you play to one that you feel fits your true nature and puts you in alignment, living in alignment, or you can just accept your fate and just be happy anyway with the role that you're playing. And if you do accept it to the utmost intensity, accept what you do, embrace it, and just accept the thusness of it and just be the best that you can be. Sort of echoed in the myth of Sisyphus. If you know the myth, Sisyphus, I think it's a Greek myth, and essentially he had angered the gods, and so the gods created a punishment for him, which was to push a huge boulder up a mountain, and then once he gets to the top, it rolls back down, and he has to go back down the mountain and push it back up again. And they sentenced him to do this for eternity. So the gods obviously were quite smug about this punishment and thought, what a terrible way to punish him. Perfect for angering them. And then after a while, they went back to check on him, and Sisyphus actually had a huge smile on his face when he was pushing the boulder up and down the mountain. And what this basically echoes is that Sisyphus realized he had to do this anyway, so he might as well just embrace it and enjoy it and just accept the sort of thusness of his circumstances and his reality. So if we could all channel a little bit of Sisyphus within our own lives, you either make the change and live in alignment with what you truly want to be and your values and your virtues, um, or you just accept the life that you've got and you accept it and you just be happy. I try to sort of channel a little bit of Sisyphus within my own life, to be honest. I don't like being stuck in routines too much, even though routines are good for discipline. Um, so I don't like the days to look the same too much, and I feel like I'm starting to get a bit flat when I'm doing the same thing over and over. But again, that is my choice, and I realise that I can just accept that and embrace it, or introduce more variety. It's up to me. I don't. Nobody's forcing me to do this stuff, and nobody's forcing you to do anything for the most part. So that's something else I wanted you to take away, sort of from this discussion. But yeah, the Stoics. If you've not sort of delved into Stoicism, I recommend it. It really can be life changing for a lot of people. It's definitely helped me. Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Diogenes, even earlier sort of philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, who directly influenced the Stoics, all life changing stuff. So I recommend you sort of look into that as well. So I just got a fly in my face. Was it a little spider on my eyebrow actually? So another sort of philosopher, Albert Camus, said that he thought that I keep saying absurd, the absurd can be liberating. And this is exactly what I was just touching upon, that when you really stop and listen and look at how absurd reality is, you realize that you can be liberated from it. The curiosity of how crazy this all is liberates you from the mundanity and the suffering within your own life, that sort of psychosis that I'm talking about. And I've wrote here, humans desperately seek meaning. Sorry, let me say that again. I'm not editing any of this, by the way. This is my non-edited channel, raw and unfiltered. So let's try again. Humans desperately seek meaning in a universe that doesn't provide fixed answers. I think it's again speaks for itself. Stop trying to seek fixed answers in a universe that doesn't owe you anything. The universe doesn't owe you an answer, doesn't owe you meaning, and it doesn't owe you hope. So just accepting the thusness of things and the cosmic play really is sort of an end to suffering in that way. Since my walk the other day and re-engaging with this stuff, because I tend to like get stuck in my patterns of being a person and playing this character called Ricky, and playing the roles of martial artist, coach, carer, worker, friend, boyfriend, when they're all self-imposed sort of labels and rules, within the cosmic sort of scheme of things, these are all self-imposed sort of societal labels that are on us. Another thing that Alan Watts talks about on this is a Tao sort of concept. Tao is from Taoism, and that is the concept of Wu Wei, which means effortless action. Effortless action, it doesn't mean to just stop doing everything and just being lazy. It just means detach from the outcome of your actions and just just exist. Because when you're attached to outcomes, you're grasping, and you can't grasp life. You can't grasp the universe. An analogy I like to use is a stream. If you imagine a stream in a forest, for example, or in a meadow, and you reach your hand into the stream and you grasp to try and catch the water and then lift the water out. Obviously, as you grasp the water and take it out, the water just slips between your fingers because water is flowing and formless and malleable. And that is how really we should be to be free from suffering in our own minds, is to be formless, is to be labelless, is to be malleable, changeable. Bruce Lee said it himself, be like water, my friend. What he was saying is, when you try and grasp onto things, when you try and grasp onto life and you try and take life by the horns, that's when it will evade you the most, just like the water within the stream. What you should be is what Alan Watts says is one of my favorite things that I like to remind people and to remind myself, is like a ping pong ball in a mountain stream. Now, the ping pong ball doesn't try and fight against the current of the stream to climb the mountain. It just allows the water to take it wherever it goes. And I think that is something that's sorely, sorely missing in modern society, and something I have to remind myself a lot, that if we stop fighting so much against the current of life, we can actually go with it and just enjoy it and just be true to it, true to ourselves, joyous. Yeah, just that's really all I wanted to say, to be honest. Everything starts and ends with the ego. And when we detach from ego and just let things flow, that's when life can become amazing. Detachment from ego, detachment from the psychosis of modern society, and just embrace the cosmic dance and the absurdity of things. So, yeah, so what I wanted to say to finish the video off, this is a new channel that I'm doing where I essentially just decided I do this anyway, where I go and I'll find somewhere quiet and sit on my own, write and think about philosophy, and think about the universe. I just thought these sort of ideas that are helping me and these philosophies that are helping me might really be able to help someone else. So I thought, why not just do a little video every so often and just post it on YouTube? No sort of filtering, no sort of editing at all, just completely raw, as sort of a contrast to what YouTube is at the moment, which is highly edited. So yeah, I hope you'll join me on some more of these videos. If you want to support the channel, please like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it as well with anyone that might need this sort of message. Oh, I've got something in my throat. So what I mean by unedited. And also, just check out the description for any sort of book recommendations or product recommendations that sort of help me just navigate life as well. Check the pinned comments. I will always put some sort of pinned comment in with some sort of philosophical or existential question for you guys so we can discuss things. And also check out my other channel, which is far more established than this, called Philosophical Calm with Ricky. I'll also put that in the description of the video. And that channel I started over a year ago, again, to get these messages out to people, to help people. But that's not raw and unfiltered. It's scripted, it's AI assisted, it's artistic, and has a different aesthetic. It's ambient with ambient music, a little bit more serious. It's Stoicism focused, but it has Zen in there as well. Also talks a little bit like warrior cultures sometimes, like Spartans, ancient Romans, samurai. It's got some of my favorite figures in, like Miyamoto, Musashi, and Marcus Aurelius and Sun Tzu. So yeah, check that out as well. Like and subscribe to that. That uses, my voice. There's a voice clone as well, but mostly it's my voice doing sort of some sort of quote, and then my voice clone going through my script with some dynamic visuals. You'll see anyway. It's nice. You'll enjoy it. But anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope that you'll join me in my next ramble, philosophical ramble. Have a good day. Bye bye.